will be held against you. Protocol. This is John Barron of Chimney Check Professionals. This is the video portion of my inspection. This is where I take a look at the inner walls of the chimney system. My written report is what is to be relied upon for all of my findings and recommendations. What we're looking at here is a prefabricated metal chimney system. This is a Class A chimney. The general use for this type of chimney system is for a masonry chimney repair. So in this case, the original masonry chimney was removed. It was a single-wall brick, non-reinforced construction, and then the metal chimney system was placed on top of the remaining original masonry via a bonding connection. While the viewpoint from the inner walls of the new metal chimney system, I have no issues to take up. Again, refer to my written report for all my findings and recommendations. So here we go. This is the bottom of the metal chimney system, and this is what we call our adapter plane. And it basically is adapts from the shape of the original masonry to the round metal chimney system right here. There is a mortar coating that was placed along the remaining surfaces. There's a few gaps here and there. You know, it's one of those things where gaps between masonry, it's always considered cause for some sort of repair or maintenance, so to speak. I can't say this is worse than I normally see. In fact, it's a lot better than I normally see. But we do still have some cracking and minor gaps. We really shouldn't have any. Now, granted, by design, this system, there's probably quite a bit of masonry behind this, but I can't verify that. I have no way of knowing if that is the case. This is a maintenance thing. As the quarter camera down the system, we're going to see some cracking of some of the surface material. This is a mortar coating that was placed there. So, you know, kudos to the contractor that did this work, because he actually put the mortar coating along the smoke chimney. So he's light years ahead of most chimney rebuilds that I see, where the contractor fails to read his manual or the installation instructions as set forth by the city. So that's great he did that. There is some cracking of the surfaces in areas. Now, if this is the material called ChamberTech that he used, and I have no way of knowing that. If it is ChamberTech, then they do have an allowance for some cracking. So based on what I can see, I don't see any significant issues with the system. Now with the chimney system. Now the fireplace is modified from its original form or shape. This is based on everything I see, and part of this is guesswork. Obviously, I can't tell you for sure that this is not original. Based on what I see, I would say that it is not. Based on the flatness of this area here, in other words, we don't have a breast right here. What we're supposed to have is a shape that goes from this point. You'll have to give you that perspective. Well, you're going to throw up after my video with all the dizziness. So right here we go. This is the inside of the lintel area, the beginning of our breast. We should have a transition up to this shape here. That's what we should have. There's a couple of reasons for it. One of them is assist with jacking, and the other one is we don't know what's behind it on this side here. So we want a pretty large barrier between this material here, which is combustible, and this material here. In this case, I do not consider this to be a significant or a real big issue, but the correct thing to have done would be to create a proper brush here, thus eliminating this flat shelf. This will hinder dressing, which I'm going to do. Inside the fireplace area, we can see that we have a log rider that's supposed to be placed on top of the log grate. It's supposed to actually be placed underneath the log grate. We have a flexible gas line that is supposed to be rigid, and hence holding the log grate in proper position below the log grate. We have a gas valve that is technically inside of the firebox. The requirement is to have it fully outside of the fireplace. My bigger issue with it is it's an old original gas valve. I say replace it regardless. During the replacement, one could put it right here instead. Aesthetically, that's not going to be beautiful. I know that. Aesthetically, if one wants to, one could go through an extra fence and actually place the valve in the floor area, which is common for today's standards. Now, we have a blackish right here. Now this tells me the system does not draft correctly, or actually has not drafted correctly. So as far as sequence goes, I would say the chimney was rebuilt most recently. Before that, and sometime before that, this was done. So this was done, we had our original chimney, they used it to some degree, then the actual original metal chimney was removed. Hence, this drafting issue may not actually be as bad, because this metal chimney system that we have beyond our smoke generator is going to function much more efficiently than the original, very likely single-wall, mortar-coated brick that had probably an oversized rectangular flue that is very inefficient. So you probably have a system that has a great chance of functioning as it should. Now, the chimney itself has a particular design specification by the manufacturer of the chimney system. Part of that requirement is for the chimney to extend a certain number of inches above the top of the framed chase. We need a 6-inch section of metal chimney attached to the current chimney. Additionally, the metal chase cover, which is on top of the metal framed chase with a plywood exterior, is supposed to be vented. In other words, it's supposed to be raised on top above the chase by at least half an inch, and then it's supposed to be larger than the chase itself so that air can actually escape appropriately. How big of an issue are any of these items? Can't really tell you. All I can tell you is the standards are extreme. That's true. But they're designed so that you're not the one in 1,000 that actually has a chimney fire. So with that, it seems logical to correct these items. Ensure to review my written report for my findings and recommendations. And